to get your fix.
Are you ready? Are you ready to get your fix? Are you ready? Are you ready to get your fix? Are you ready? Are you ready to get your fix? Are you ready? Are you ready to get your fix? Are you ready? Are you ready to get your fix? Are you ready to get your fix?
With the Wicks here on this beautiful Monday, March 28th, 2022, and welcome to the show, whether that be on Facebook or on YouTube. If you're on Facebook, do me a favor, hit the like and the share. If you're on YouTube, hit the subscribe. It'd be much, much appreciated. So now that we're a couple weeks removed from all the craziness of the offseason, things have started to, die down. We had a lot of moves being made, a lot of trades. Khalil Mack gets traded to the Chargers. Devontae Adams gets traded to the Raiders. Carson Wentz gets traded to the Washington Commanders. Matt Ryan gets traded to the Indianapolis Colts. You get it. New faces and new places. That is what we've basically been discussing the past couple weeks. Things have started to die down, though. Okay, not a lot of new information has popped up. Not a lot of new faces and new places, basically, has happened. But there are some signings. There's a retiree who just announced his retirement today. We'll dive into that briefly. We won't have to talk about it too much. The Bills are getting a new stadium. That is very interesting. That is exciting. I'm pumped for it. Pumped for Bills Mafia. Excited to see what kind of venue they build. Will it be indoor? Doubt it, because it's Buffalo. You gotta use that weather to your advantage. Okay, the snow, the wind, whatever it is up there, you need that. Obviously, home field advantage is a big thing in the NFL, especially if you're winning games and your franchise is slowly climbing that mountaintop, looking to hit the peak. In which they're I think they're really close. They just got Von Miller in free agency. The Detroit Lions have been in the news today. They're getting HBO Hard Knocks training camp. We'll dive into that, as well as maybe they'll get the draft in the next couple of years. We'll talk about that as well. Deshaun Watson, briefly bring up news that Kevin Stefanski kind of said on his role with the Cleveland Browns and what he expects from Deshaun Watson. And then all 32 teams, well, they're being required to employ a person of a diverse culture, or a diverse person, basically, person. So we got a lot to talk about today. Please join me in welcoming Y4 to the show. Normally not on Mondays, but he's here. He's ready to rock and roll. We got a lot to talk about. I'm pumped about it. So are you ready to get your fix?
I know I am.
Hey, you better be. But let's start right off the bat. So we'll get this kind of out of the way. We've talked ad nauseum about the Deshaun Watson situation. This ain't really talking about his situation with the criminal cases and the civil cases. This is basically just talking about when he's going to be ready to play and what his role is, I guess. But Browns head coach Kevin Stefanski expects that Watson will be with the team at the start of the off-season program. So that's training camp, OTAs and stuff like that, which will start, I believe, it said April 19th. So that is huge. That also kind of leads me to believe that the Browns think he's going to be just fine, and that while these civil cases probably won't get settled within this year, the NFL still has to figure out if they're going to give a suspension, and if those civil cases aren't dealt with or within time or due time, those suspensions won't come until probably later on down the road, aka maybe next year. So, John, what'd you kind of expect out of Watson? Do you expect him to play this year? Expect him to be ready? That's kind of what I thought.
I definitely expect him to be ready. I expect him to be hungry. I expect him to basically picked up where he left off. He might, first 2-3 games, have a little bit of rush to shake off, which can be expected. Don't panic when you see that. But I think once the offense starts moving and clicking together,
moving and grooving,
and if he is able to work with them pretty much the entire offseason, that'll be really beneficial, and I think that'll be a good fit. I could see a suspension, 3 to 4 games. I think whatever the initial suspension will be appealed by Deshaun's.
Yeah.
He can be like, hey, we sat out the whole year last year and we've been adamant we're innocent on this. And there's still no criminal charges and the civil cases haven't been charged. So it could get appealed and probably brought down to, like I said, that 3 to 4 game stretch. But other than that, I think that the Browns are in good hands and they'll be good next year.
So with the suspension kind of looming, obviously, if these civil cases don't get figured out within this year, and let's say it doesn't get figured out till halfway in the year, would you expect the NFL to kind of suspend him? Say like, okay, it's week 8, civil cases came out or whatever, they figured out that, he should do some community service or whatever the case may be, or serve time, probably not serve time on civil cases, but the NFL could be like, oh, okay, well, now we have the evidence in place. Hey, we're gonna suspend you set amount of games. But like you also bring up at the beginning of the season, like I just don't think the NFL is going to suspend him without like the evidence, or without like not really evidence, but like the knowing exactly what happened and what would be a good suspension. I just don't feel like they would do that until these civil cases kind of get figured out.
Mm.
So, but suspension is definitely looming. It could be 4 games, could be 6 games, could be 8 games. But it also, as reported by Ian Rappaport, could be no games. This whole situation is really hard to kind of maneuver around and kind of figure out what actually happened and what would be a good suspension, if a suspension is even possible, or if it even could be a legit thing. Obviously, he sat out, like you said, all last year. I mean, I think he kind of, almost sort of felt like he did his time, but at the same time, he could have played all last season. He could have. It was just too much noise, too much distraction.
Yeah.
Didn't want to bring that in the building. He didn't want to play with the Houston Texans.
He was there every day at practice, so wasn't he?
Yep, every day.
Practicing by himself.
Mm-hmm. So he was there. He was in the building, but he also had to do that because if he wasn't at practice, he'd get fined every single day that he wasn't out there.
Okay.
So pretty much like you might as well be there and kind of doing what you can, just throwing off on the sideline, not paying attention because you're not going to play anyways. But yeah, so Kevin Stefanski, head coach of the Cleveland Browns, expects him to be ready for the off-season programs, which will start about April 19th. And obviously the draft is right around the corner, basically like during that time, like right away during that time. So that's some good news for Watson and the Cleveland Browns, I think. Now we just got to wait on the potential suspension, which could be, like I said, 4, 6, 8 games or none. So moving forward, we got the Jacksonville Jaguars kind of in the news a little bit. Their longtime center, actually of 8 seasons, Brandon Linder, actually has announced his retirement. Kind of interesting little piece of news that I've seen today, because I feel like he is definitely one of the staples of that team. And he works with Trevor Lawrence on a daily basis. So what does this mean for Trevor Lawrence? What does this mean for his success going forward? How do you go about finding a new center? Do you just bring in your backup and say, okay, now it's your time to start? Or do you go, in free agency or the draft and get one of these young up and coming centers that, the sky's the limit basically for him? But I think this could potentially not really screw up Trevor Lawrence's season, but it's going to make it tougher because you got to build that chemistry. You got to get on the same page. You got to take a lot of snaps so that the feeling's right basically for him. Kind of give me your 2 cents here on Jacksonville's center kind of retiring after 8 seasons.
I think it's definitely a big hit on the offensive line. I mean, that center is a huge piece.
Right.
And yeah, I think if I was the Jags, that would be a position I would try looking to free agency, seeing if there's a guy with some years under his belt, and then maybe get a guy in the draft to, what's the word?
Kind of like mold.
Like be a successor to that
Yeah,
guy, you
yep.
know? But, yeah, I think that they need to look for a veteran guy if there's any out there, and then maybe 2nd, 3rd round look for another center.
Another guy. Yeah, that'd be a good opportunity. Because, we seen last year with Creed Humphrey, who's the center of the Kansas City Chiefs. He comes into the league and he's played phenomenal. Actually, one of the best centers in the league. He was probably in the top 10 for Offensive Rookie of the Year, which is kind of blew my mind. Just being that he's a center. And we've talked about it quite a bit here on the show, that offensive line, it's like, it's hard to find great offensive linemen. It really is. And when you find a great offensive lineman, you want to keep him happy as long as possible. You want to keep him healthy as long as possible. You want to keep him on your team, period, as long as possible. Because I think chemistry on the offensive line is a huge thing that kind of not really gets overlooked, but isn't talked about enough. Because, if you have an offensive line that is not on the same page, Aaron Rodgers kind of dived into this. Like, if one person is on a different page than the other person, it screws up the whole play. It screws up the whole offense. It just screws a lot of things up. And I think you've said this as well a couple times, where the game is won at the offensive line.
Yeah.
The game is won at the offensive line. If you don't have a good offensive line, good luck. I mean, the Cincinnati Bengals, that was a miracle of itself. A shitty offensive line. They figured a way to, go to a Super Bowl. They damn near could have won that too.
Now they should be better with a better offensive line, which
yeah,
definitely improve on. And yeah, it's like if you got a good offensive line, your backs can be pretty much mediocre.
Yep.
And you're still gonna have a good running game because you got an offensive line that is just moving the ball. Also, if your backs are doing better, then that opens the door for your passing. Also, play actions. Just the offensive line, that centerpiece. If you got a solid offensive line, that makes your whole entire offense just
makes that game plan
run
smooth.
Yeah. It's like the oil for your machine is that offensive line.
Right, and if having a good offensive line, like you said too, it's like it helps that run game out tremendously. And I've said it multiple times on the show too. It's like you have to establish the run, because if you don't establish the run, you're not a two-dimensional offense. You're not a two-dimensional.
Controlling the clock either.
Exactly, you're not controlling the clock. It's just a whole lot of things kind of play into the offensive line, or they all go back to the offensive line. Okay, we didn't do good on this play, so what happened? Well, let's run it back. Let's run the clip back. Let's see what happened in the offensive line. Let's see if there was too much pressure. Let's see if somebody missed their block. Let's see if all of the above, basically, because the offensive line is a massive piece. So Brandon Linder also, he went on Instagram and did his whole retirement kind of farewell thing. So I'll try to read that the best I can, because it is kind of fucking blurry. We'll see what it says. So he says, to the city of Jacksonville, 8 years ago, you welcomed me like a family member and have continued to support me unconditionally. I have grown to love this city, where I have put down roots with my family, made lifelong friends, and cultivated my passion for the outdoors. After much reflection, I have realized that the man I currently aspire to be is no longer aligning with the person I must become to play this game. It is at this time that I have decided to close this chapter of my life and retire from the NFL. I started playing football when I was 7, and I've always played with my whole heart for the opportunity to win. I have spent most of my life sacrificing my body, mind, and time in order to fulfill my dreams. I am beyond grateful for the opportunities that were presented to me and all the doors that have opened because of football. I have learned valuable life lessons and have had many unforgettable experiences that I will cherish forever. I am thankful to my teammates, coaches, family, and friends for helping me grow in the sport and support me in becoming a master at my craft. To my teammates, I want to thank you for sacrificing yourselves entirely to the sport. The experiences that we have gone through together is why the brotherhood that we have created is so special. I will miss that the most. I am grateful to be able to fulfill my goal of retiring a lifetime Jaguar. Jacksonville will remain my home. I am excited to chase new dreams, and I'm looking forward to all of the great things to come in the future. Sincerely, Brandon Linder.
Wow.
Pretty good speech. Pretty good one.
Tearing up.
Yeah, right. He fucking hit all the notes. And yeah, lifelong Jacksonville Jaguar. I think he played 8 seasons there. It was a staple of that offense. And, they haven't been that great over the years, but they're trying to get to, like I just mentioned not too long ago, the mountaintop. That's what every team's chasing. They're chasing that Lombardi. They're chasing to get perfection. It's hard to get perfection in this league. So, hey, congratulations to Brandon Linder on the fucking retirement. Good job. Great career. And hopefully your dreams come true in the afterlife of football, basically. So, congrats to him. Let's talk, before we dive into the Browns situation, not the Browns, the Bills situation with their new stadium. The Detroit Lions have been selected to get this year's, season of Hard Knocks training camp. So if you don't know what that is, It's basically a behind the scenes or an in-depth look at what kind of goes on during the training camp, which is where you get to see all these rookies that have been drafted come in, all these guys that kind of free agents have been picked up, and see what they're all about. See these basically see what their personalities are. See how they perform at a high level, at a professional level in the men's league. You'll see people get cut. Okay, it's a sad day. Boo-hoo. Okay, you should always have a plan B. But you'll see a whole bunch of stuff. It's a good time. I personally like the in-season better. I think the training camp has kind of, over the years, lost its touch. The first couple ones were, I think they nailed it, but these last couple ones have been kind of, garbage.
Rated R.
It's a good question. I don't think so. I want
to see the coaches. I want to see in-season Mike McDaniels. Just flip it out because he's such a chill guy and laid back, but I just want to see him fired up.
Yeah, the in-season one, I'm excited to see who they choose for that, because obviously
Miami. That was a good pick.
Yeah, Miami would be awesome for the in-season just because of what they built on there. Terran Armstead goes there. Tyreek Hill. Mike Gesicki got franchise tag. I believe he's appealing that, even though he won't win. But yeah, I mean, I'm pumped for it. It's going to be 5 episodes. It debuts August 9th. I believe it goes through like September 6th or something like that. So it's fun to kind of watch, because I think like in today's world we want to see what kind of happens behind closed doors. I feel like you want to see what was the process to doing what you did to get where you are, basically. And I think it's like almost watching a documentary in a way, but you're watching it in real time, seeing what these guys actually go through on a daily basis, how hard training camp is, and then you can also see how unready or not ready that most of these players are when they step up in the men's league. Because college football, that's a different animal. Okay, the NFL football, this is where your craft has been perfected. It's been mastered. It's, no mistakes. And if you have those mistakes, you got to be ready to fix those, like literally in a blink of an eye. And if you don't fix it, bam, you're out of the building. Okay. I mean, what's the average? What's the average career span of an NFL player?
I want to say it's like 3.3 years or maybe 2.3.
Yeah, it's not long at all, folks. So like if you come into the league making a lot of mistakes and you don't fix them, expect your ass to be grass, basically. Like you ain't coming back. Okay, it's gonna be tough. It's gonna be a tough road. You always gotta have a plan B, especially when you're chasing that NFL dream, or you're chasing any professional sports dream, or any dream. If that, you always have to just make sure, have it on the back burner just in case. Sometimes it's not an option. Obviously, if you don't want to have a plan, don't have a plan B. It's all about what you want and what you want to pursue. So
shit. The way I look at it, plan B is a plan to fail.
Exactly.
So.
And you can't plan to fail.
But the one thing that you gotta make sure is that anything can happen, and especially with the sport, like you can't help getting a career-ending injury.
No. Yeah.
So. Not necessarily a plan B, but just make sure that you have other skills, other knowledge, so that if something does happen to you, if something doesn't work out, you got something so that you're not sleeping under a bridge.
Right, 100%. So, yeah, just keep that in mind. But also the Detroit Lions, they got the Hard Knocks training camp. That'll be exciting to watch. MCDC, Motor City Dan Campbell, is going to be electrifying. I cannot wait. He's one of those coaches, hey, we're going to be biting kneecaps off, and if you get back up, we're going to bite the other one off, and we're going to add fuel to the fire, and the fuel is the fans, and we're the fire, all right? And we're just going to keep blowing up and stuff like that. This is what it is, all right? I mean, you know what I'm saying, man?
And that's the thing, man. I just got this tiger, man, and it's a really good tiger. They didn't have lions.
Oh.
They ran out. But the Bengals just won the Super Bowl, man.
No, they lost, actually. But
I wasn't paying attention, man.
too many whiskeys, huh?
Oh, Jared Goff was over.
Oh, yeah.
Man.
Yeah, Jared Goff.
You didn't want to watch that shit.
No.
We watched the Puppy Bowl.
Oh, the Puppy Bowl. Oh,
Pretty good.
Yeah. Who won?
Labs.
Yeah, I figured. Yeah. We got old Nash. He's a star. He was the wide receiver. No, excuse me. He was the cornerback. Okay.
Oh my God.
Yeah.
You gotta show people that.
Yeah, he can cover. Okay, my dog is a football star.
Yeah,
We
we'll
started
take a
running
video.
routes and passing, and he'll fucking go in front of you and look at you
This time?
and start running with you. So it's awesome. It's gonna be his birthday here coming up Monday, I believe it is. So he'll be 2 years old. I'm pumped about it. Maybe he'll make a guest appearance on the show. Who knows? We'll see what happens. But for the time being, instead of the training camp, they also have been announced to have the 2024 NFL draft. That'll be in Motor City, Detroit. They beat out Washington, and they also beat out the Green Bay Packers, which is kind of a bummer because if it was going to be Green Bay, I was going to be there.
Yeah, you ain't seen me in Detroit, man.
No,
I
sorry.
couldn't handle it.
Yeah,
I ain't hard enough for Detroit.
you gotta go there and just go from point A to point B, and then from point B back to point A, and you're good.
Detroit versus everybody, man.
You know, sports teams don't.
Sada Baby's gonna be out there. Big Sean.
Well, geez.
Slim Shady.
With some mom
Danny
spaghetti, huh?
Slow. Is she Detroit?
I don't know, man. Couldn't tell
T
you.
Grizzly.
Yeah, T Grizzly. There's a lot of good stars out there. But yeah, they got the 2024 NFL draft. Obviously, this year's is the Las Vegas Raiders. Next year's is the Kansas City Chiefs, and then the year after that is the Detroit Lions. So after that, Washington. After that, that'd be a pretty good, be a good scene, I think.
We should try going to the Vegas one.
Yeah. Oh, it's in a month.
Let's go.
Maybe boots on the ground. That'd be interesting. Yeah, we'll do a live show or something. It's to be decided. But yeah, they got the draft. They got Hard Knocks. I'm pumped for it. Hard Knocks debuts August 9th. That's on Tuesday. Okay, so be ready for that. It's gonna be pumped. It's gonna be exciting. It's gonna be so much fun. MCDC, the Detroit Lions, and they're kind of shitty franchise. You know, I mean, sorry about it, but it is what it is. The Saints actually re-signed wide receiver Traequan Smith to a 2-year, $6 million deal.
Good.
He can earn $4.5 million more in incentives. I think this is a good signing for the Saints, locking up another receiver, young receiver. They got Marquez Callaway, obviously. Michael Thomas is still in the building. Alvin Kamara, who, by the way, this offseason has been absolutely bonkers that I forgot. He got arrested just a couple days or a couple weeks ago. I mean,
they might not have Alvin Kamara.
yeah, that's a real thing. I seen that the other day, and I was like, no way.
Yeah, he could go to prison for this shit.
Yeah, he could.
He honestly should.
Well, yeah. I mean, it was a beatdown.
Yeah.
They stomped his ass.
And if he,
Like, he might. So, Saints
if
could be
if there's any head stomping, that's attempted murder.
But they also got Mark Ingram. Back with the Saints. But yeah, I see what you're saying there.
I mean, he's a good locker room guy and a good leader, and
When he
he's a good back, but I don't think that he's a number one back no more.
No. Yeah, he's a good number 2 back. But
I think as soon as he left the Ravens, that's when
he
his
actually
age
performed
started.
pretty well with the Saints. Every time he stepped on the field, I thought he did exceptionally well, in my opinion. But yeah, the Ravens, I think that was kind of his last hoorah, almost.
Yeah,
if
I
you
was
will.
sick
But
watching that, though.
yeah, he's a good back. He was a good running back. Now he's a good number 2 back. So we'll see what the Saints have in store for us. Re-signed Jameis Winston the other day. Their offense is ready to rock and roll. They kept everybody on defense except for Marcus Williams, who's no longer there. He's a Baltimore Raven. But yeah, it's going to be interesting how that kind of plays out over there with the Alvin Kamara situation in the New Orleans Saints. I'm sure somehow he'll be fine, but he definitely could be serving some time, some serious time. So with that being said, the Bills, they're going to be getting a new stadium. I thought so too. At first I had to think about it. I was like, God damn, how old is their stadium? And it's really, it's not one of the newer ones. So and with their franchise, the way they've been, really doing well the past couple of years.
Yeah.
Got Josh Allen. They've been playoff bound basically the last 3 years, 4 years almost. So it is in due time that they got a new stadium. And they're actually legitimately the only team that is in New York. Okay, the New York Giants, New York Jets, their stadium in New Jersey technically. So they should not be the New York Giants. They should not be the New York Jets. I think that is kind of a little bit of a
bullshit.
fuckery there. So Yeah, I think they
Wasn't there
deserve.
like a lawsuit building up from New York saying like you can't use our name if you keep sucking?
So I think I remember seeing something like that. That was a while ago, or a couple
We
years
don't
ago.
want we don't want to fucking you to put New York on your helmets if you guys suck.
I personally think the Giants should find a way to move into say, like Brooklyn or something and find a home there, and then the Jets should go fucking somewhere else because the Jets are just they're garbage, man. They're so bad. So the Buffalo Bills, they're gonna get a new stadium. It's a 30-year deal for $1.4 billion. Billion. They got a lot of money that's going into this stadium. I'm actually really excited for it because I mean we've got to see what US Bank Stadium has looked like after they rebuilt it. The Atlanta Falcons got a new stadium. SoFi Stadium was built. I mean all these new stadiums. Who? Allegiant Stadium. That's a new one. I mean these stadiums are phenomenal in what they've been able to put together. So I can only imagine what Bills Mafia Stadium is going to look like. That is going to be fucking awesome. It's going to be so fun to see what's built there and tickets, who knows. It is said to be probably done or completed in 2026. We got some time. Okay, we got 4 years. So you can just imagine how luxurious that's going to be. I mean, it's going to be, expect SoFi, but probably, I expect SoFi or a little bit better. I don't know what else to tell you. But this is a statement from Terry and Kim Pegula on the new Bills Stadium. We took another step today to solidify our collective goal of constructing a new stadium for the Buffalo Bills in Orchard Park. We are grateful for we are grateful for the time, efforts, and unwavering commitment made by Governor Hochul, I don't want to say that, and her team throughout this process. While there are more hurdles to clear before getting to the finish line, we feel our public-private partnership between the New York State, Erie County, led by County Executive Mark Polonsars, and the National Football League will get us there. So they get a new stadium. This is awesome. The amount of public funds that are going to be used to build this new stadium is $850 million. So that's basically by the state, the taxes, and everything like that. That is going to be helping, or that amount of money is going to be helped to build this stadium. In comparison, the Chargers and the Rams, they didn't use any. Okay, they had zero from the public or whatever. Public funds. The Raiders had $750 million of funds from the public. Atlanta only had $214 million. Minnesota had $498 million. San Fran, $114 million. The Giants and the Jets, zero. Okay. Dallas, $444 million. Indianapolis out of $620 million, and their stadium was actually $720 million that they built it for. So they, only had to fork up $100 million themselves. And then Arizona, $346 million. So a lot of public funds going to the Buffalo new stadium that'll open hopefully in 2026. Your initial thoughts on this new stadium, huh?
It's gonna be sick.
That's what I'm thinking.
It's gonna be awesome. I think it's gonna be indoor.
Think so?
Yep. I think all the modern stadiums are either going to be indoor or the indoor.
The collapsible roof almost.
And the reason why I say that is because, like Pat McAfee brought up, when you get a new stadium, part of the deal is Super Bowl's played there.
Yeah.
They ain't going to play Super Bowl in February if it's there. They're gonna want indoor, just like the Vikings.
Neutral.
Yep.
Playing zone. Yeah.
Mm-hmm. And for the fans, they want it to be a controlled weather situation for the fans as well, just to make it the best experience, sell the most tickets. And I think that it's going to be an indoor stadium. They're going to use it for a lot more things than just football.
Oh yeah.
So, be a big money maker for Buffalo in the end.
Yeah, it definitely will. They have to figure out some way to incorporate the fucking jumping on the tables like they always do, Yeah, that'd be like whether that's the top of the roof just fucking getting like brought down almost and like kind of like folding up or something like that. That'd be kind of cool. Or like the field, they could have like a projector on the field. And like it just fucking like crack and open, like they do that in like NBA hardwood floors and stuff like that. That'd be kind of cool. But that you make a good point there with the indoor stadium. It definitely, because initial thought I was like, oh well, they're gonna have to use the elements to their advantage. But a new stadium automatically means Super Bowl. So it's like, yeah, I might have to go indoor. Neutral playing grounds.
And I mean, players and free agents, like, they do not mind indoor stadiums.
No.
Like, outdoor stadiums are fun for us as fans to watch, seeing them in the elements and stuff, but the players, they don't like that shit.
No, hell
They
no.
don't want to be in cold ass weather.
It hurts when you get tackled and it's cold.
Yeah. And when everyone says, oh, the cold is a playoff advantage for the Packers. Well, the Packers have had home field advantage in the cold weather and gotten beat. So,
Yeah.
I mean, you get a controlled environment for a guy like Josh Allen and stuff in the playoffs. If they got home field advantage, it's going to benefit.
Yeah, that's definitely a good point. Yeah, their new stadium, it's gonna be fun to see what they kind of do with it and what new elements they add to it that haven't already been added. You know, I'm pumped for it. I mean, it's gonna be great. So, Buffalo Bills, new stadium, 2026. I'm pumped for it. Kind of breaking off before we end the show. A little interesting piece of news has been brought to my attention. Don't really know what this is going to entail, but it's going to entail more diverse coaches in the National Football League. This is at My Sports Update, or Ari Mirov on Twitter. He said, beginning this season, all 32 teams will employ a diverse person to serve as an offensive assistant. This person will work closely with the head coach and offensive staff to gain experience. With many head coach hires being on the offensive side, league believes this could help in the future. Thoughts on that?
I don't see anything wrong with it. I mean, I think we've gone over this before. A lot of opportunities are brought by not what you know, but who you know.
Right.
Like a guy like Urban Meyer not knowing who the hell Aaron Donald is shouldn't get a job over maybe a person of color
Right.
that does know stuff as simple as that. You know, so this will get them their foot's in the door where it's not, oh, we don't know that person, we don't know where they came from, but they could be a very knowledgeable person. So forcing teams to have that diversity in there, whether it's a woman, a person of color, working with head coaches and everything, that can get their foot in the door, and then we can see the minds that deserve to be in charge of these
Right.
football teams.
And it only takes one opportunity, one little thing to change your entire life. So if you bring in these people, like you said, like, you don't know exactly what is on their mind, how they think, how they go about their business, and bring them in the building, it's just only gonna bring that out and bring that to fruition that, like, hey, this guy, he knows what he's talking about. He's a smart dude. He could definitely coach a team if he had to, so, or if she had to. So I'm okay with it. I'm pumped for it. I think it's
Does the diversity, is it strictly just color, or is it color or...
it just says diverse people, so I'm
okay.
assuming women would technically, I think,
Yeah.
fall in that diverse category because it's basically all men. So I think, yeah, I mean, you gotta do what you gotta do, and I think it's a smart choice by the league, especially with, you know, the recent, the Miami Dolphins situation, the Brian Flores situation, where he was, you know, paid to lose games, so to say, and two people have joined him in doing so, or following up with that lawsuit. So they needed to change something. And not a lot of people knew what that really was, but I think this is a very, very good step by the NFL in trying to making teams, you know, hey, you need at least one person of diverse, you know, ethnicity or whatever it is, woman, color, anything, to come in and kind of learn the game, learn the sport, see what they can do. Because I think if they come into the building, they come into these NFL, you know, locker rooms, and they don't do a great job, but they still have the knowledge and they still do an okay job, that opens the door for college opportunities. That opens the door for high school coaching opportunities and other sports and stuff like that. So I think it's a big thing. It's a good change for the NFL. I'm pumped for it. So, yeah, good for them. Good for the NFL for figuring out a kind of a loophole, not really a loophole, but a good change of scenery for the National Football League. So, with that being said, that is all we got for you guys today on the show. Thank you so much for listening. Hey, we're going to be back here tomorrow because, you know, there's still a lot of marquee names in the free agency. Odell Beckham Jr., Jarvis Landry, Julio Jones, Stephon Gilmore, Bobby Wagner. I mean, the list is, it's a laundry list, folks. It's quite large, okay? A lot of people that need to find a new home, when that will probably be coming within the week or two, maybe after the draft. Who knows? All I know is I want the Vikes to go after Tyrann Mathieu, and if that doesn't fucking happen. But Hey, it is what it is. So with that being said, have a great rest of your day. Enjoy the weather until that snowstorm is supposedly coming. That's gonna suck. I mean, they teased us with that 70-degree weather. That was fucking bullshit.
Yeah, they
Okay.
did.
And then now it's cold again. But yeah, enjoy the rest of your day. Have a great night. We'll see you tomorrow at 6 p.m. Central Time. And you just got your fix with Wicks. Deuces, folks.